Joining us today, Ms Laetitia Nyop, CEO of Lead Hospitality. I would like to ask a visionary question. Let us assume that a vaccine is effectively produced and distributed during the first half of 2021. From your perspective, please describe to us how the tourism sector will look like and what needs to be done to adapt to the new reality.
Well, thank you, Mohammed, for the question, and thank you to all the team for the organization of this summit. It's very interesting, and the period is very, very difficult for all the hoteliers. And I'm happy to be here. My company is working basically only on West and Central Africa. We give consulting advice on hotel hospitality management and as well managing contracts for hotels in Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea. So to come on your question, on the first half of 2021, we are all waiting for the effectiveness of this vaccine. We hope that it will be a part of the solution to problems we are facing now in the hotels, because many hotels reopened in Africa from August, September, and the occupancy rate is still low. In September, we had an average of 26%. And you have to know that more or less hotels lost 83% of their RevPAR, revenue per available rooms, most of those hotels. And people are really fighting because there's no help of the government for the employees that are in the hotels, and it's a very critical situation. So the vaccine, it's really waited. But before the vaccine, we hope that we will have the borders open as soon as possible, because that's the main issue. And maybe also the test process has to be seen. Those are the two main problems facing travelers now. It was more or less this year we lost worldwide. It was almost 1 billion of tourists that didn't travel due to COVID-19. And for them to travel, of course, the vaccine is something important. But if the countries does not open the borders and the process before taking a flight is not so complicated, maybe we have a better hope in the future. Comparing Africa to maybe Europe, we have all the hotels and restaurants that reopen and operate quite normally. Most restaurants do not have really big impact now in November. I was myself in Ivory Coast last month, for example, in Benin, and I saw that people are just working normally. Of course, the hotel occupation is low because of the companies. For instance, Air France that covers all the African, West and Central African countries closed their flights a few weeks ago due to COVID-19. So that's also a big impact on the turnover. But also another solution is the local tourism. So people traveling from one country to another in Africa, and that represent normally 65% of the travelers. So that's a good thing for the hotel. But the test and the testing and also the prices of the airlines have grew up, has a sad effect on the occupation. Well, that's what I wanted to say.
Yes, I am sure. Thank you for that. If we just give it a guess, by which year do you think things will be going back to normal?
Yes, thank you, Mohammed. I think really, like Ajay said, it's difficult to think that 2021 can be a new restart because of the vaccine, because things has to be put in place. As Mr. Pappas said, the public sector and the private sector really has to work together, and we see a lot of things happening in Europe. For instance, yesterday in France, there was we had the president who spoke about this situation, and in Africa things are sometimes kind of slow, and we had really less people affected by this problem. And the vaccine for the African is not a solution because they've started working already. People have started doing their life like before. They're not waiting for the vaccine. In fact, the vaccine, because African thinks that people sick in Africa are coming from abroad. They really don't think that it's African tourists coming to Paris, for example, are bringing the COVID-19, but it's the French people going, for example, to Africa that will bring the COVID-19. So the testing must be done first to the Europeans, and then maybe when it's working, coming to Africa, because then apparently they are not really impacted on the same level. And people just really need to work in Africa because, as I was saying, the public institution does not support and help like in other parts. I'm really speaking about the French-speaking Africa, so West and Central Africa, what I've seen, because I was in Africa 1 month ago, and I spent 4 weeks in 3 countries, and I really saw that people restarted their life like before. Of course, we have less people coming in the country, so the upper hotels are really affected, are really still very affected because it depends on the flight coming in the countries. But you already people started traveling from other countries, Western country to Central and Central to Western, and this population going to middle class hotels. The turnover, the occupation rates are really coming to a good level. Good example, I took a plane going to Abidjan in end of September. There were 2 big flights at the same hours, and the 2 planes were full. So that is something saying that the activity there, because the economic are really dynamic in Africa, and people have to travel. Everything cannot be made on Zoom, and we know that internet is very complicated in Africa. We really have to travel and go and meet people to make business and good business. And we think that in this it can take until 2022, of course, but people will have to travel to come and do business in Africa. That is something sure. Zoom is something periodic that people are using, all these digital meetings, but of course people will have to meet. And I'm really optimistic on this part. And even we're seeing many type of solutions that hoteliers are doing in Europe are not functioning in Africa. Maybe having an office at the hotel, delivery, food delivery. Well, everybody started that, but it's not working because it's not the same. People, when I want to eat, I go to a restaurant. I don't order. It's not the same philosophy. So
yes, you pay for the experience, not just for the food.
Exactly.
Excellent. Things like ecotourism, adventure tourism, hiking, a lot of these activities that do not force you to be in one closed space would flourish under the current conditions. Laetitia, would you like to comment on this as well?
Well, yes, because effectively we'll be contacted by an owner in Ivory Coast, and he has 2 beautiful hotels with a zoo facing the sea in Jacqueville, which is a city 150 kilometers from Abidjan. And the place was full because you have many people that couldn't take the vacation to take a flight. First, they're scared of traveling, and they don't trust, they're not confident enough, and they really prefer going to other location. That's why local tourism is really an opportunity, and finding destination or places that are not full of people. So it was very quiet hotel with bungalows, and it was really the best spot for people that wanted to have fun on a weekend. And I discovered that place. You have the zoo, it's quiet, you are into the nature, you can go hiking, so you can walking. I don't know how they say it in French. I think in English, I think it's hiking. And you have many possibilities. You have fresh air. You don't meet a lot of people. And I think this is the new style of going on vacation now, or renting a villa. It's also another thing that is really working now. And we've been also approached by an owner that has villas that want to equip for his guests to have a hotel service in the villas for VIPs, people that come for the weekend. And that is really, I think, a part of the future. So we had the Airbnb that was very, 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 that impacted the hoteliers. And now I think we will have also those small hotels and those houses that will come and take some space in Africa, because in Africa, really, if you were traveling, it was hotel, not renting a villa, and now it's really a new spirit.
I have a question from the audience before I continue with the questions I have. A guy from Tanzania who currently works in Abu Dhabi is asking, what steps can be taken by hoteliers to promote local tourism post-COVID-19, and how can African hospitality professionals handle both local and international guests gradually, considering COVID-19 recovery will take time?
I just wanted to add something. Of course, number one will be all the health and safety procedures that we implemented in the hotels, but also the flexibility of the cancellation policies. Today, if somebody, people when they travel, of course, we have to promote local international tourism, but when somebody travels, some have the problem of the price they pay. So we need to have attractive price and flexible cancellation policies, because imagine today you book the cheapest price, which is normally prepaid. You book your flight, you go and your test is positive. That means you cannot take your plane to go to the hotel and you have lost your money. You cannot postpone your stay. All this is complicated for the person that has to travel. So if you're going either mostly for leisure, it's quite a nightmare, but for a businessman, he can say, okay, the company will pay. Kind of. But anyway, hotels need to be flexible and really having cancellation, the possibility for the guest to postpone his stay, or to be refunded at some point, maybe with 50% that they keep or something like that. People really have to be flexible, because the tourist today really is facing a big problem. If I have to travel, if I'm sick before everything is cancelled, and I need to have a test of 48 hours. So that means I have to book the flight. It will be much more expensive. So everybody really have to play the game. I mean, the airline companies, now it's very easy to change your flight dates on the European company. But in the African company, it's quite a nightmare or impossible. And the prices has really gone up after the COVID-19. So to promote the local tourism, you really have these things to put in place, because if the airlines are not playing the games and the hotel, it will be very, very complicated for this type of tourists. And the local tourism, we spoke about the people coming from the capitals going to the other secondary cities, but we have the regional tourists, so the people crossing from one country to another, maybe with a car. The borders are closed at the moment in some location, so that also it's a problem. And when they take the plane also, they need the test, and it's expensive. And imagine, before going, you take 1 week vacation. Before going, you need to test yourself before going back at your place. And if you're positive, you need to stay in quarantine 2 weeks, and you are paying for your quarantine. So people don't want to have this kind of problem. So that's why people are not traveling. So there are many barriers today in the local regulations, I mean, in Africa, from one country to another, that are making people traveling a bit complicated. So the current alternative, which is the best, like Ajay say, it's really the people, instead of going outside, they go in the hotels of the country. So it's the nationals that we have to promote, make good offers for the nationals, as they cannot travel to go abroad, go and visit, do the safaris, go and do, because it's not because you are from Paris that you went to see the Eiffel Tower. Some people, maybe in Kenya, they have I take example of Kenya, they have the money, but they don't do safari in Kenya. So maybe that can be also a way of promoting the
local tourism. I think there are many gems in Kenya, and I was there last December. It was really amazing spending time in the Masai Mara. let us assume you had an extra $50 million in your pocket, and you could invest them anywhere in the world. Where, when, and how will you go about investing them?
Mine is, of course, Africa, so don't ask. Well, I have a few projects because I have few owners now that had stopped the construction of the hotels. They're expecting for finance, and all the banks are really closed at the moment and don't want to invest into or give loan into debt into hospitality sectors. And we have some project really viable. And like Ajay said, I visited the hotel at the beginning of the year. Well, it's more than 3 hours. It's 5 hours from Abidjan, and which is a place where all the agriculture of the cocoa for the chocolate is made, and there is no hotel over there. I mean, no real hotel. So just building a three-star hotel over there will be full from Monday to Sunday because you have the business is there, everybody is there, but there's no hotel. All the banks are there, all the telecommunication company are there, but you don't have any hotel because any brand, no big groups want to go out of the big cities. When the owner has a project, he go and see the bank does not follow him. So it's a really big problem. If today I have this 15 or 50 millions, of course, I will invest in this kind of project, which are not in the main city where there's a lot of competition, where you have a lot of expenses for, of course, the land and so on. And you go in those other places where travelers need also good hotels. I mean, not always big star, with the ROI that is very, very good.
In terms of size, how big would that hotel be?
Well, this hotel project, it's 40 rooms. And of course, it can, because of the land, because the land is very big, there can be an extension on the second phase. But the business plan was made on 40 rooms. So this is the type of project that also you have for Togo and for many cities. But because you don't even have to make a market study. When you go in the city, you just tell yourself, whoa, how do I sleep? And when you see where you sleep, you just say, I can pay 3 times this amount and I really want to sleep in a good bed.
Excellent. Very good. We have a comment here, I think it's a comment, not a question, from a guy in Egypt who's saying that the sector is suffering a lot and it needs international support in order to preserve the future of people, wildlife, and historical sites, I believe, around the continent. So maybe this is something we mention here so that if anybody from the international sector or financial sector or whatever is listening, maybe this is something that really requires a lot of support.
Yes, thank you, Mohammed. Well, I want really to close on positive also because we have many investors like this guy I just spoke about before, this man. We have many people that really had the project, which is viable project. They don't have to be disappointed or discouraged. I think the things are hard, but people still continue investing in hospitality industry, and they should continue. For the hoteliers that are already open and facing situation, well, they should take this time maybe to reorganize, to work on all the safety, health implementation in the hotel, to train the staff, to maintain the building, for example, because when tourists will come, it's not at that time that we need to do all that. So they have to prepare and really train the staff with this measure, to know the knowledge about this sickness, about the COVID-19, because maybe we have we don't hope, but maybe in the future we can have this kind of issue again. And also try to be flexible and to offer services, other type of services that maybe they were not doing before, in order to have the much as possible guests, and maybe touch other category of clients that they were not expecting. I had, for example, a call last week with the hotel in Europe that started accommodating people that are sleeping in the street, and it's the government paying for that. It's a kind of population that they were not really thinking of having one day, but it's a kind of solution for the winter, and for them the employees are quite happy to have people in the hotel. So maybe trying to see other opportunities. I know there are quarantine hotels in main capitals in Africa, so hotels that are only reserved for the people that has to spend their quarantine. So it's a kind of possibilities, but I mean, finding solution to gain customer, mostly for the hotels in the city centers.
Yes, thank you. And I think one of the very important points you mentioned that I would like to re-emphasize on is the importance of creating awareness and capacity building amongst your staff. With the amount of conspiracy theories, rumors, and things all around COVID, it's very important that your staff know exactly what they are doing to serve your customers in the best possible manner. I would really like to thank all of you for a wonderful dialogue we had, and for all the insights, wisdom, and knowledge that you shared with us today and with the audience. Thanks a lot. And with this, I conclude this session. Bye for now.
Thank you, Mohammad. Thank you, Laetitia. Ioannis, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.